Good evening. There is a picture of Donald Trump declaring to the world with his Habsburg lip and his Habsburg jaw that Michael Cohen is weak and trying to get a reduced sentence. That is one of the hundreds of Cohens that are on the Little Sis website, and the Cohens, as you now know, and Field McConnell knew that when I was being interviewed by him, he knew that it sounds as if they're Jewish. They are the high priests of Israel, which is why Donald, in the last 2 years, has taken the embassy for the American country from Palestine, where the Quran was written, and is there to divide and conquer everything, right into his wife's Austro-Hungarian river valley. Yeah, that is the launch of Islam, and the Cohens are an absolutely massive dynasty in the White House, and all of this will be copyrightable because Donald is speaking on YouTube like all of those people that use YouTube to copyright their statements. But there is just the published thing in The Guardian that is Trump. Michael Cohen is weak and trying to get a reduced sentence. Let me now show you how many Cohens there are on the profiling the powers that be in America and what exactly they do. They run the Trump foundations. And that is a man called Eric Trump, who I've not yet discovered. And this is the same week that I have exposed that those lot there on this screen are actually trained as prime ministers in Tavistock by the mind control people that run Tavistock, which are the Russell families of Woburn, who are born to die young. And I've just been looking at the Orange family lineages that have had to change their marital rules, and they're now allowed to let the surviving women continue to be Duchesses of Orange, because that allows them to keep the title. Yeah, all of the males have died, and that is occurring now on the ski slopes, and that is the Star Wars with the gods. And my hosts have come here today to tell me that I've only got till a week on Wednesday before I'm bummed out. And that is the Forbes families, and all of them are the people that are the syndicate that appoint and fund the secret societies that run the governments. Yeah, that's the Russells of Tavistock, and that is the Russells of Devon, and the joke that is heaven. Yeah, and that is Tavistock in the West Country in Devon. Do you get it? And this lot are from the Holy Roman German empires, and my computer has just reloaded because they've got the capacity to freeze it now, and I will not be able to move it on when I want to show you what I've got preloaded. Okay, so it's just booting up again. Let me take you back. Oh no, sorry, I can't take you back to the picture of Donald because I have to reboot it again and again and again. So, do you get it? That is the president of Lithuania on the far right, and her name is, I forget what it is, but all of it, she was in a body double for her was massive and sitting on the bus last night. And there's Merkel, who's now been exposed as the daughter of Hitler Rothschild already, and what they've got in the mind control centres are cigar tubes filled with semen by the world leaders that were appointed. And in the Old Bank Bar last night, sorry, that's the big pub run by the Flemings in the past, but in the other bank bar last night, the body double for Stalin was walking around with all of his mates, and quite sadly my next door neighbour is clearly descended from an aristocratic family. He's a coal merchant in Kelso. And he smiled gently because he knows that I've got the power to find them all out. Let's just call him Alexander for the moment. Also had a cancer. Sorry. So we'd better get rid of the video of Donald in case it turns on and copyrights my attempts to make a new video on a different topic. Oh God, and it may play at the beginning when we reboot the computer. So let's restore pages so we can find the Cohen references.
So Michael Cohen has made many statements to
Yeah,
the
thought
House,
so.
as I understand it, and the Senate. He put out a statement talking about a project which was essential.
So that's Donald putting out statements about his Cohens in his administration, and now let me go to the Cohen profiles. Better get rid of any other YouTube videos that are waiting in the background to screw me up. Okay, there is now, oh sorry, there is now a picture of Michael Cohen, who's the boss and owner of Mad Dog Cab Corporation in America. And we've got something wrong with our capacity to broadcast now. This is the president in America surveilling an innocent little bloke that has no funds, that has no place of residence, and is determined to bring down the New World Order and expose them for what they're doing. That one is a person and a lawyer called Michael Cohen. That's that one. Yeah, there's no president on the image, but this is the little cis website that declares that it is profiling the powers that be in America. And I was quite stunned when I learned that there are over 200 Cohens to be corrupted in association with the White House. So that this one is the one that Donald is now criticising, because his regime need to cover up the fact that he is related to Queen Victoria in England and the people that ran the Mayflower expedition to kill all of the Indians in America and allow the Christians to take it over. Yeah, so this one graduated from Cooley Law School in Michigan, and we can get more there if we want it. But his other positions, as well as being the boss on snitching taxis in New York City, is that he is other positions now known as a curativity dedicated to raising funds for people who die in the Star Wars. Yeah, that's the Eric Trump Foundation, and Eric Trump has passed on, and now they're using St Jude, yeah, for the McCartneys of Liverpool to try and cure the other people that are getting the acts of God. Okay, he was educated at Thomas L. Cooley, M. Cooley's law school, and he's also got holdings in Michael Cohen's shell company. Yeah, this is Michael Cohen that is there, and he's Lanny J. Services and Transactions, Lanny J. Davis and Associates, law firm specialising in legal crisis management. Let me now show you just how many. There's the Eric Trump Foundation, yeah, now known as Curativity, dedicated to raising funds for St Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Yeah, and there is Eric F. Trump, who must have died, yeah, and he runs the Trump Winery, founder 2006 to question mark. Okay, that's the Eric Trump Foundation. And the others on the board there, oh no, let me just show you the numbers of Cohens that they have to uh, explain, because the Cohens are the high priests of Israel, and the Barent-Cohens are married all over the world to Rothschild. And that is the first marriages that the Rothschilds were prepared to do, except with their sisters and their cousins, and sometimes their mums. Yeah, it is absolutely sinister, but there are the statistics. There are uh, way over 200 Cohens in the powers that be in America. Much, much more even than Hannah Mary's lovers, that are the families that are also born to die. That is she was in love with it's like a clerical name, and it is Monk. Yeah, do you remember those stories? And all of her love stories and her writings on the monks, yeah, that just turn out to be the mafias surrounding the White House. So William S. Cohen is the former Clinton Defense Secretary, former US Representative and Senator from Maine, where the Bushes live in Vesuvius. David L. Cohen is Executive Vice President, Comcast Corporation, yeah, and Stephen Cohen is US Representative from Tennessee, a representative from Tennessee, born in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee. And then there's a Howard Cohen, yeah, and uh, he's not got any descriptors. He could be a shadowy figure, but let's not speculate. Let's get the 200 named, and some of them may be able to be shamed. I'm completely objective, and I understand why Donald sacked one of them. Sacrificial victim. Yeah, sacred cows. Yeah, and that is what they used to have to kill in the Bible stories. And in the High Priests of Israel, the Cohens were asked, that is Abraham was asked to kill his own son. Yeah, and that is Aaron in the Bible. Okay, Robert A. Cohen, R.A. Cohen, do you get it? That is R.A. Cohen, like Ari Onassis and Adi Hitler in the same bloodlines. Rhonda R. Cohen, retired partner in the law firm of Ballard, Spar, Andrews, and Ingersoll LLP, and that is a sinister issue. That is the Ings that killed every pagan on the earth, including the American Indians, and that is their laugh that they have now killed also Saul, and they are a limited liability company. That is the killing of the sun god Sol, Natalis Invictus's supporters that are the Indians, America's native sons. No longer with us, and that is to the Bushes who dig up the grave of Geronimo to show that they have the power and that they are Ingersoll supporters too. Aaron K. Cohen, former lobbyist and Chief of Staff for John Ensign. Stephen A. Cohen, founder and member of SAC Capital Partners, son of a dress manufacturer, grew up in Great Neck, New York, attended some school or other. Yeah, he's a son of a dress manufacturer. Cheryl Cohen Efron, New York City Planning Commissioner. H. Rodgin Cohen, top banking lawyer. H. Rodgin Cohen joined Sullivan and Cromwell LLP in 1970. That is Cromwell that tore Britain apart in the massive religious wars. Yeah, and that is him that eventually had Thomas More beheaded for his beliefs in Christianity. and the fact that Jesus would allow Thomas More to get home to heaven, because he's bly enough to get that done. Yeah, and that is the bly middle name for Bill Clinton. Phyllis Cohen, Houston, Texas attorney. Phyllis Cohen is a Houston-based philanthropist and lawyer. Next we get Barry J. Cohen, and we're still on there, page 1. Burton Joseph Cohen, Suzanne Cohen, Carol the First Cohen, consultant, KGB, Beechwood, Ohio. And there are the network maps. Secret payments to Michael Cohen's shell company. Yeah, and it's openly published. Donald's quite a good investigator. He can read. Yeah, next up is Theresa May's Lovelace company. That is Swarthmore, Cohen and Lovelace. Shall we click on it and see what we get? Theresa's husband is the boss at the Lovelace company. Open link in new tab. Remind me to close it, please. Oh, and they've got lovely pictures. And that's Theresa May's Lovelace company, run by Rhonda R. Cohen, Swarthmore College, James Bryan Lovelace, ExxonMobil are part of the syndicate. That is Donald's oil company, one of the big four. EOG Resources, Canadian Natural Resources Limited, Kinder Morgan Inc., Capital Research Global Investors, Shell, Marathon Oil Corporation, and that is Royal Dutch Shell. Yeah, and that could get us into big issues about the inbreeding and all of the people that are the owners of Royal Dutch Shell. Cabot Oil and Gas Corporation, Exelon, Chesapeake Energy, Phillips 66 for the Freemasons and the Bible authors, Marathon Petroleum Corporation, ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil, Chevron. So they've got the big four oil companies stitched up, but BP is still holding them at bay. Swarthmore, Cohen and Lovelace. So let's just turn it off and keep going down the list. There's Perry Como's Cuomo Rebney map. Shall we click on all of these and see what it says? Secret payments to Michael Cohen. And it's amazing that the police in America are not able just to read it and interpret it. So let's open that. New tab. This is Donald's enemy this week. To Michael Cohen's shell company. You get it? That is the complete Ponzi schemes that Donald runs in Scotland. Let me find that for you now, because the gods have been badgering me on it. His Ponzi scheme is, and there's the British Royals that they like so much, because Queen Victoria is Donald's ancestor, like the people that ran the Mayflower as a project out of Holland for the Dutch religious mobsters. Okay, so what we need to look for is they've got 3,000 Ponzi schemes and they're registered in Scotland, and that is Dunwilco. I hope that's how you spell it. No, it's not how you spell it. Let's look up speculative society. Yeah, and this is the stories of the Sky Bridge and all of the massive revelations that have been made by the woman that is the sound-alike for Sky Briggs, and her name is Sky Briggs, and that is how they hope not to get arrested themselves. Speculative society, so we'll get a hit for that, and we'll see Donald's picture as we move down the mugshots. Oh no, it's frozen my computer. This is it. The template for globalism, 27th July 2018. It's had an update. Yeah, there it is. You can find that on my webpage if you're not a dimwit like Donald, inbred with the Habsburg jaw. And there are all the companies that crashed the banks under Professor Ewan Brown, CBEs, who became a knight the week I reported this and published it on there, and that is all of the folk that crashed the bank. That is Anne Gloag, Stagecoach Group, Lothian 50, run by the Rothschilds in the place where I used to go to the Students' Union at Heriot Watt, where I was able to buy my own car before I even went to Heriot Watt, and there were no fees for anyone to pay then. And there's Lovegrove and Associates Limited, Noble Grossarts Investments. So let's just go and find Donald's Ponzi's. There is the former boss from Kelso of St Andrews University, and there is Butcher Haig that led the massacre in World War I for profit, and his Batman was the Earl of Morton, and he was still Winston Churchill's Batman in World War II. And this is why they're all called the Speculative Society, because all of them are investors in the massive political scams. And there is Hannah Mary's lover, Peter Monk. Yeah, let's move on to Donald's Ponzi's, and there are the ones run by the head of the investigations into European finances. That is that Christine Lagarde woman. And there are the usual suspects in Donald's family. That's the Mackays of Clash Firm. I'm going to have to turn the fire off. Yeah, because I might get banged up myself, and that will give me somewhere to sleep. And there is the state of the nation. That is the Mackays, Lord Mackay of Clash Firm, that one, and that is the Mackays that are Donald's relatives on the Scottish islands like Skye. And the Skye Bridge is the joke about those people are as close to Queen Victoria as Donald Trump is himself. Yeah, 16th or 17th cousins of Queen Victoria. Yeah, and there's the two Ronnies and all the massive jokes that got me and all of Police Scotland's scams, yeah, in the cover-up of Moira Anderson and Arnott Manderson being the company in law that sold Scotland in the referendum. And there's Miss Mackay at Cramond. Yeah, and that is the name of the new headmistress at Kelso, who Ian Fingland was the advisor to as the governor, the chairman of the school governors, and that's the one that tried to murder me as a doctor in the NHS. Right then, and there's kidnapped by Robert Louis Balfour Stephen, and there is Trump, Scotland, and there is the Rothschild Windmill Hill, and that is Donald Trump's Dunwilco Ponzi schemes. And this one I cannot get copyrighted on, yeah, unless Hannah Mary takes a grievance against me for explaining that Windmill Hill is where all my energy bills come from. Yeah, and all of it has been privatised, and there is Dunwilco 1292 Limited. The company is director is not identified there, but I've got it all identified. He is the boss at Dunwilco, which is why they have 3,000 Ponzi schemes. And let me see if we can get their trading address, just so you can check it out. Right now, so there is the other interacting corporates for him, and that is Dunwilco 1292, 1293, 1294, London Bridge Business Improvement District Company, BQL Brighton Limited, Glen Grant Limited, Hydrofact Limited, Trump International Golf Club, Scotland Limited. And they have not paid their accounts since 2006. CSL Surfaces Holdings Limited, Glens of Foudland Wind Farm Community Trust. So Dunwilco turns out to be wind power, and that is what he moaned at Alex Salmond for despoiling his golf courses by allowing wind power to be used and the massive windmills to be either set up on the ocean next to the golf courses, and there are where the golf courses are. They're absolutely beautiful. I once got a puncture at that place, and the gods give me clues everywhere I go. That's Babylon Greenock, dozens of Ponzi shelves called Dunwilco for Donald Trump. Let's see what we get when we click on it. It might explode my computer. Company check, Director Limited, and he's changed his name to DW Director 1 Limited, now registered not in Greenock like he was before, and 530 of the Ponzi schemes have been closed. Sorry, 449 have been resigned from. Yeah, it no longer is Trump, and all of that was absolutely, and they are no longer in Greenock, in Glasgow, near where the BBC present their news. Okay, so that's clicking on the, let's try the other one, business interests, renewable energy scams and numbered companies. Oh no, it's just the same. Yeah, and no longer is Trump identified. Yeah, and that is, even the golf course will no longer be, well, let's try. Oh, isn't that fabulous? So when you register your business interests, you're supposed to register them all and show how many interlock with the other ones and who the directors are. And the directors now will no longer be Donald Trump, even although he's named this time, and that is the saltire flag, which is the joke about religion, and Donald's dad's middle name is Fred Christ Trump. Let's see who the directors are. Remember, he did not want to take all of his wealth and give it to his kids. He's going to break it up. So there's DW Director 1 Limited. Yeah. So they've got 3,000 Ponzi shelves in wind power, but they now have changed the name of the people. DW Company Services Limited, Mr. Donald Trump Jr. Oh my goodness, is that him? Mr. Alan Weiselberg, Mr. Donald J. Trump, Director, and he resigned in 2017 after I reported all of this. He was appointed in 2006, yeah, and I came back from New Zealand in 2009. So he resigned in January of 2017. Miss Rona Graf, Mr. George Sorrell, not Sorrell, Mr. Eric Trump, yeah, and that is the Eric that his man, Michael, looks after. And he's got the cancer now and they're trying to cure him, yeah, by another set of investing scams. Anyway, let's not talk about medicine. Poor Shona Robinson, she's had a rough deal. And they may have done away with her. I've not seen her for months now. So that's Trump International Golf and the DW Directorates, where 530 have now become 2. Maybe the man has a conscience after all. Right then. Saltire Court, it's quite poetic for the false Christians. That is the saltire flag, that is the cross keys for the Vatican and Jenny Geddes' stool, and the massive religious conflict that has been caused by that. And there's Mad Dog Cab Corporation, and you now know that in Hebrew, when you read from right to left, that the dog becomes your gods. And that is Fred Christ Trump, yeah, and that is the Eric Trump Foundation run by Michael D. Cohen. Yeah, and he's now trying to get a lower sentence than Donald might get. If there were any law enforcement. So, I hope we're still on the TV screen. So let's get out of that. There's the Eric Trump Charity Foundation, now known as Curativity. Do you get the acts of God things that are happening to him? He's had more floods and had to pay out more for the repair of all the flood zones than anybody else in American history, in all added up together. And that is the massive inflation that they use to bankrupt the ordinary people. So, let's search Cohen's again. Secret payments to Michael Cohen and the Shell Company. Cohen and Lovelace, and I think we've had a look at that. Insider Trading Network, interesting one. Shall we look? Oh yeah, it's all syndicates. Rajat K. Gupta, McKinsey and Company. Yeah, that is the ones that asset stripped the whole of China. The Procter and Gamble Pharmaceutical Company, Lloyd C. Blankfein, Goldman Sachs, Gary Oldman. Yeah, and the founders of the original Federal Syndicate. Yeah, that stole the bank from the people of America. And there is Stephen A. Cohen, who's in SAC Capital Advisors. Galleon Group, Berkshire Hathaway, for the richest man in America, that is now overtaken even Bill Gates. That is my mate, that is down the road, and his lookalike is in Broughty Ferry. That's Berkshire Hathaway, and the director there was 4th on the Forbes rich list when I profiled him. I'll remember his name later on. Okay, so let's go back. Oh my god, it may not go back. What a stupid thing, I did not open it. And we may not get back into the place that we just came from. Search, oh no, there it is. So Mocha Madness. Let's now just go to the individuals. And that is page 1. Yeah? Oh no, you should go to the bottom of this. So Black Point. Let's just open them. So secret payments made to Michael Cohen. Let's get rid of that. Michael D. Cohen on Little Sis. We've done that. The Eric Trump Foundation. We've done it. Okay, so Black Point. Former DOD. Remember my nickname was Doddy or Dodd when I was a boy, because that is a nickname for George. And now my mate Doddy Weir, who is in these families, promoted to top lobbyist gig at Lockheed Martin. That is where Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands committed his post-war war crimes. And I think the president in Canada, who's in the syndicate, yeah, he's a Lubavitcher, and they're running Lockheed Martin still. Dodd secretary under Bush and Obama. Stephen J. Hadley, Condoleezza Rice, Rice Hadley Gates. Oh, there's Bill still involved, and he's a limited liability war criminal now. Center for a New American Security, Inc., House Armed Services Committee. Oh, that's terribly scary. Why did I not open it in a new box? Right then, so let's open it in a new box just in case. Cohen and Lovelace, do you get it? Did we have a look at that? Open link in new tab. That's Theresa May's husband's company. And now all of that has been reported to Police Scotland in the Gala police office under the cover of my cameras. And that then went to Callum Kerr in he is the representative for Kelso at that time, and none of them would let me meet them despite multiple attempts with my friends in some of the interviews to get an interview with my local MP, and John Lamont refused that for 4 years, which is why he did not run for MP again. He was my local political representative, and now he's my MP, but he's refused to meet me right through his time in both of those offices. So that's Cohen and Lovelace for Theresa May's husband, who's not even mentioned. We could look him up. He's Philip May. Let's do that at the end if we've got time, and we've got the wits. Okay, lobbyist at Lockheed Martin, and that is Prince Bernhardt's post-war crimes, and that is Prince Bernhardt, who's on the committee of 300, or was, but he died just after Shimon Peres, and all of them are in the same families. Helping WAPO with disclosures, Black Point. I don't think we've got time for all of it. Eva Moscow, Success, and Wall Street. Oh no, this is probably a Russian communist. Open link in new tab. Moskowitz. And there it is. It's got another map. The Greenblatts are in it. Stephen E. Cohen, A. Cohen is in it. SEC Capital Advisor. And there is a picture that looks very much like, oh no, it's John A. Paulson. Paulson and Co. Inc. Boaz Weinstein. Have you heard of Weinstein before? He's a heinous criminal. And there's a Professor Weinstein at Columbia University who's a mind control expert and probably gets the minor figures, even in the powers that be in the White House, trained for their capacity to be monkeys, trained monkeys in government, like Theresa May and Miss Merkel have been for 4 terms in office already. Gracie Asset Management, Morgan Stanley. Yeah, Pizena Investment with the word Pizzo almost in it. Gotham Capital for Batman. And there is Eva Moskowitz. 120 Wall Street will cost 31 million over 15 years. Right then, so let's go back and see what else we can find. I was just going to read you the names of the Cohens. I think I should get some of that done just in case you don't grasp the magnitude of it. So we've done the first 10. Now let's go to page 2. Peter A. Cohen, Investment Manager, Director since 2005 of the Chairman of the Compensation Committee. Yeah, maybe if you're falsely accused as a Cohen, you can get some money back. The Cohen Group, federal military lobbying organisation run by former Clinton Secretary of Defence William Cohen. That's Bill Clinton, the brother of the Queen of England. Daniel S. Cohen, he does not have anything to declare. Jonathan Little Cohen is Goldman Sachs's major domo. That's the banking empires. But I haven't got time to go. Oh yeah, we have. Major domo in banking. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Wall Street investment, banking, securities, and investment managing. And his birthday was on 1939, when George W. Bush was just getting into the American politics as a member and the founder of the Fourth Reich in America. Goldman Sachs Political Action Committee, Chris Dodd, Christian Gillibrand, Claire McCaskill Kenny. Hope you're not related to these guys. Maybe that's why you had to resign. And did you know that Lovelace is Theresa May's husband? So, entities, we're on page 2 of, I think it's 25. So that's Major Domo at Gary Oldman Sachs. Cohen Law Group, that's Stephen H. Alexandra Cohen is the founder of Stephen and Alexandria Cohen Foundation. Let's see what they've founded. Oh my god, I've gone, oh my god, who's that one? It's got a swastika suit on. And nothing really. So they are SAC Capital Partners. Oh my god, please say a little prick. Oh no, we've gone back to the same place. So, Gideon Cohen is president of Highland Capital, for a laugh. Frank Cohen is chairman and CEO of not Brexit, but Bray It. Do you get it? That is the donkey that is born in Italy, braying, and that is the naming of Brexit, and the cover in the powers that be that are the Cohens in the White House. Just to let you see that it is an obfuscation tool for Bray It, I will open that link in a new tab. That's Brexit. Hillary's Action Fund, Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust. Do you get it? Everything is the jokes about Islam and the Blackstone and Baroness Blackstone, and she is a massive mobster, and she scammed the contract for the Channel Tunnel. Yeah, and she's the boss at 2 universities, and all of it is a massive scam. And they've got Hillary as part of their subsidiaries. Right then, Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust for the Bray It chairman that is the joke about Jesus in Italy being the donkey on Palm Sunday. And that is the Brexit joke, but no one knew that until today. Frank Cohen. So, Laura T. Cohen is a trail net in St. Louis, Missouri. She could be a poacher. Stephen M. Cohen's is Elliott Management Trader. That is the Elliots that are friends of the Roosevelts, that are linked to the fact that both the Elliots in Scotland and the Roosevelts in America live in Springwood. Do you get it? And that is the earliest frauds in Holland, because that is the tulips from Amsterdam real estate and investment opportunity. And it's all quite sad, really, that we cannot grow up, Theresa May and Donald, and just tell the world that we are a mafia operation for over 2,000 years. Yeah. Next one is Betsy Z. Cohen, CEO at Bancorp Bank. Betsy Z. Cohen is chairman and trustee of Rate. There's a rat in the kitchen, Ali Barent-Cohen, Ali G. Yeah. Kenneth P. Cohen, Vice President, Public and Government Affairs at Exxon Mobil, one of Donald's two of the big four oil companies. Stephen F. Cohen, Professor of Russian Studies and History, New York University. Claudia Cohen, yet remember the Russian troubles that we're having at the moment. Claudia Cohen is a New York gossip columnist, and she has got lots to gossip about. I looked at this one earlier on. Open link in new tab. So this is the gossip person in the powers that be in the White House, and she is, her family is Samantha Perlman, the Weinstein Company. That is Perlman, the Nazi that actually composed the song about Schindler's List. Ronald Perlman is on the Forbes Richest 400 in 2009, chairman and CEO of McAndrew and Forbes, who have decided today that I've got to get the fuck out of this safe house and let the world continue with the corruption. And there's John Kerry and everything that they fund. Yeah? Democrat National Committee, Bill Bradley, and that could be the man on the Mayflower that is related to Donald, but I think it was Bradford. Yeah, that's the man that had to be under the boards on the Mayflower, because he's the political leader of the massive thing that comes out of the Dutch coast. And her alias is Claudia Cohen Perelman. Speaking of 16 million, Ron Perelman is a source link for this. And John Kerry's on her boards. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, since we started to talk about the Moynihans in Ireland and their links to David Dimbleby in the family trees. Arlen Specter, William S. Cohen, former Clinton Defense Secretary, former US Representative and Senator. So, let's close Claudia's accounts. It does not seem nearly as interesting as it was when I opened it this morning. But that's the Perelmans that wrote the song, and they are in the Frankfurt families, and all of it are the chosen ones from King David's chapter in the Bible. Yeah, and that is the high priests of Israel. So that is Betsy Z. Kenneth, Claudia, David Philip Cohen of Counsel for Brownstein, Hyatt, and former Chief of Staff at US Customs Service. They have everything stitched up. So, next page is page 3, and there's 25. And I'm missing my night out on a Saturday. Burton D. Cohen, founding publisher, MSP Communications. MSP. Member of the Scottish Parliament? Surely not. Open link in New Cab. Founding publisher, MSP Communications. Medica Foundation Board. Mr. Cohen is active in numerous community activities. Minneapolis Institute of Art, Hannah Mary. And that is the mini polis for Pizzo that have been in charge of the world and the White House ever since it was launched, and it was called the President's Residence, which is papal residence in the early days before the Protestants launched the Shin. Bill Luther, and I think he was an early Protestant person. Yeah, and that's out of Germany, and that's the takeover of the whole of America. And there's a Bono, Minnesota State Senator, Pizzo woman lover, Terry. Sorry, Burton D. Cohen. And Burton is the actor that plays Mark Antony. And all of he is on the world owning bloodline, but Julius Caesar's lovers are also the Bono women. So that's too delicate for them to contemplate. Sorry, let's get rid of them and go back to the listing. We're only on page 3. Oh, sorry, Rupert. Jerry L. Cohen, Richard B. Cohen, chairman of CNS Wholesale Grocers Limited, 61-year-old, who goes by the name Rick, and that is the Rick style banking groups and everything that is associated with the lovely songs about Play It Again, Sam, and the banking interests of the actress who is the launch of the earliest banks in Germany. Daniel L. Cohen, Benjamin J. Cohen, tax attorney, Bob Cohen, David S. Cohen, Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. You get the picture. Those are the people that have launched the Russian stories. Yeah, like they did when they launched the story that the Russian communist killed the Tsars that are now named Tsar Rothschild Nikolaevich Romanov. And that's why Romanov of Chelsea is savvy enough to resign, because his boards and his family tree are filled with Osip Abramoviches, and he's packing up. And he may be going to sink his yacht so no one can meet him and get his opinions on who should be the next president or prime minister, like Rupert Murdoch does in his yacht. David S. Cohen, Under Secretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. Yeah, that's uh, stock market hedging and making your money on the price of gold every morning. Jacob Rothschild. Marcia Cohen, Professor, University of California, Hastings Law School. Howard A. Cohen, Edwin C. Cohen. We're only on page 3, I'm really sorry. Edward C. Cohen, Charles S. Cohen, CEO of Cohen Brothers Realty Corporation. Yeah, do you remember the realty scams and the crashes? And that is Obama and all of the covers on the Committee of 300. That is the launch of the serial killer in Norway, and that is Breivik, who's cover for Donald Berwick and the real estate crimes in America. David P. Cohen, President of Common Cause, part owner of Politics and Prose, David Pesach, almost with the word Piso in it, was born in Philadelphia in October the 10th, 1936. Fred E. Cohen, partner at TPG, a private equity firm. We've got to get a move on. Sorry, God. Oh no, sorry. This is Donald Christ Trump's issues. Marshall M. Cohen, EVP Corporate Research at Univision Communications Limited. Ink, sorry, is, oh yeah, that's the ink joke for the Piso pen too. Alan M. Cohen, EVP and Global Head of Compliance at Goldman Sachs. Yeah, you'd better do what you're told, Gary. Stephen M. Cohen, former Secretary to Governor Cuomo. Joel J. Cohen, Chairman and Co-Chief Executive of Sargent Advisors Inc. Dan L. Cohen, Theodore Cohen, retired professor, University of Pi, Pittsburgh. Yeah, where the Pitts are the lovers of Jennifer Aniston and all of the Piso relatives. Arthur G. Cohen, New York City real estate developer, another one, began a roller coaster real estate career. Yeah, that is Ponzi schemes and the crashing of everybody's mortgages. And that is Donald Berwick, which is why Breivik was arrested and jailed in the Pi Piso Pinny with his machine gun. Daniel I. Cohen, Professor, Hunter College, Cohen Veterans Network, non-profit founded by hedge fund billionaire Steve Cohen, non-profit honest. Started at New York University when Ken Langone became the donor of the universities. That's the Langs that were the coronating people in Westminster Abbey for the British Royals. Sharon Cohen, yeah, that's the Stammering King and the bigamous it's this Prince Albert and the bigamous marriage to Queen Victoria. Sharon Cohen is the most experienced and well-connected something, could be hairdresser, something, let's take a look just in case it's false history. Open link in new tab. Isn't it exciting? Is the most experienced and well-connected healthcare and biotech lobbyist in Washington, and she directs the Podesta company that is Todesco of Austria. Yeah, and that is the Cohen family that own the restaurant, the supermarket that is Tesco. And the man that bought it, and I could not identify who's fourth on the list, he's Berkshire Hathaway, and he's my mate. Oh God, I can't remember it. And Bill Gates used to be first on that list. Right then, Christopher B. Cohen, he does not have anything to declare. Andy Cohen, TV personality. Liar Cohen. Prior to joining WMG, Cohen the liar was head of Island Def Jam, and those are the places where all those movies are made by Def Jam, who are actually the Rockefeller dynasty. Abby Joseph Cohen, chief US investment strategist, Goldman Sachs again, Gary. Michael A. Cohen. So we're moving now. Page 5. 1/5 of the way through the mugshots. Oh no, we don't have them. Sir Ronald Cohen, businessman, founder, private equity firm Apax, linked to the British Labour Party, promotes socialism and finance. It actually says social finance. That is the Russian Tsar. Yeah, communist joke again. Steve M. Cohen, attorney McAndrews, and Forbes. Yeah, can you see why my hosts are a little bit panicky? Stephen M. Cohen is executive vice president. Irwin Cohen is a retired partner of Deloitte and Touche. So this is Touche. I forget what the story is here, but I've told it in some of my videos already. A professional services company. Richard J. Cohen is Minnesota State Senator. Perkins, Smith, Cohen and Crowe LLP. Oh, Cheryl, I love you. Let's open it in a new tab, just in case it's her. No, the gods want me back on the shin. Perkins, Smith, Cohen and Crowe. That used to be a tribe. Yeah? And that all of it is the massive jokes for the Bush family, and even Sheryl Crow, she's one of the ones that sings the songs about going up to heaven out of Santa Monica Boulevard, and Santa Monica is the patron saint of explosives, I think. William H. Bodger, but not Bolger, that is Rupert Murdoch's favourite diversion, and the reason that all mums globally have to drive their kids to school. American Express Company, Global Payments Company. Yeah, as if we had not got a debt pool for all of the poor people. Perkins, Smith, Cohen and Crowe. What was her name? Deloitte de Touche. Perkins, there it is. Stanley L. Cohen, Stephen Cohen, Elliott Management at Springwood, for both families that are Roosevelt and Elliott on both sides of the Atlantic. Lawrence B. Cohen, physician professor at Yale University, that runs the Skull and Bones and funds all the revenge attacks that are all the world wars. Jeffrey Cohen, Naomi K. Cohen, Regent Consort School, a regent in this day and age. She's interesting. And it could be Naomi Klein, my former correspondent, that also pretends that she's a false socialist. And it's the Little Sis website page for her. She is a regent at Con School. Naomi C. Case Cohen of Bloomfield has served in numerous educational leadership positions, including 4 years as House Chair of the General, and she looks like my next door neighbour from Cambridge, that whose husband dropped down dead when they were living in Pinnacle Hill Park. Last time I saw her, she's got a cancer and her head was completely bare, but it may not be her. Naomi K. Cohen, and it would be lovely if it was Naomi Klein and she were to confess to the fact that she's one of the biggest false socialists that still are alive, since they killed the communists that were the Tsars in Russia and renamed them Romanov, Rothschild, Nikolaevich, Tsar. There's Julian Cohen. Oh no, what have I done? Oh no, he looks like a minor figure. Even the first transactions were only $1,500. So let's go back. Julian Cohen, Caroline Cohen, psychologist and supervisor at Harvard Medical School, where Bill Gates went, and that is the earliest university, and it was built only 20 years after the Pilgrim Fathers landed on the Plymouth Rock, and it's right next door, and that is right next door to the Bush's mansion that is now called Vesuvius. Yeah, because they are totally treasonous, and they are the Fourth Reich, and the massive influences on how this lot have become the Fifth Reich. Yeah, and the High Priests of Israel all at the same time. Hannah Cohen, oh, I meant to play the Monty Pythons. Yeah, he's the King of the Jews story, and the Monty Python's billionaires, they've now got the cancer, the one that says, yeah, if they're the King of the Jews, there must be loads of them. Yeah, that is the Jewish mythology, and all of the fact that all of the rich Jews are still running the world and making songs about Schindler's List. Hannah Cohen, wife of Nathan Mayer Rothschild, who emigrated to London in 1798. One of the usual suspects. Let's see what they've got on her. Yeah, that is the earliest marriages. That is plump Hannah, who went to live in Naples because they know that that is where the families were that run the mints, that were the Piso family. Yeah, and those are the mints that were making the asses that are the coins that is Jesus in 120 BC, which is why Hannah Cohen died with a disease with the word Piso in its name. Yeah, plump Hannah of Naples. Let's see what they've got on our mugshot. Open link in new tab. Oh, they haven't got a picture. Emigrated to London in 1798. Levi Barent-Cohen, Warden of the Great Synagogue in London, Mayor Amschel Rothschild, Member of Parliament for Hythe. Yeah, do you get the Jekyll and Hyde jokes now? Yeah, and Hyde is the name of one of the parents of the Orange Movement's first babies, Sir Moses Haim Montefiore, yeah, who are then become the Stalin families, which is why they're walking around Dundee looking like young Stalin. And that's the Montefiores that are the Mountain of Fire, and they live in Ramsgate, and they pretend that they can never have a synagogue in those places until we get into the days when you're not allowed to smack your children. And they now, with Nicola Sturgeon, allowed Alex Salmond to buy an airport in Ramsgate where my son works, and that is so that they can run money into Poland, which is named after their greatest hero, that is Arius Calpurnius Piso, and his nickname is Polo, which is why Bill Gates no longer dare look for cures for polio. Caroline Blanche Isabel Elizabeth Fitzroy, granddaughter of Nathan Mayer Rothschild and Hannah. And I did not find, oh, there's a Louise Rothschild, she's bound to be lovely. Emigrated to London, arriving in 1798, and all the shin's all over by then, God. Sorry to take up so much time on it. Hannah Cohen, wife of Nathan Mayer Rothschild. Jan Cohen. I wonder why am I looking at all of them now? Chairman of CNS wholesale grocers, not just an ordinary working woman. So that's page 5, I think. So number 6, that's a Freemasonic number. Hilary Cohen, VP, Highland Capital LLC. We better take a look at them because that's the second time that we find the Cohens on the board. Open link in new tab. Sorry, this is going to be really boring to look at. Yeah, remember that there are 25 pages of it and we're only up to page 6. Prairie Political Action Committee. Mark, that's the Indian Prairies, by the way. Mark Stephen Kirk, US Senator. Oh no, sorry. We're just looking at Landrieu, Gordon Harold Smith. No, she's just Highland Capital Limited. So, let's get rid of that. 7. Oh no, sorry. Carol Goldstein Cohen. 6. Hilary Cohen, Larry Cohen, Arthur B. Cohen, Joshua Cohen, he's a professor at Stanford. Sheila Cohen, professor at SUNY, Cartland. SUNY is the Godfather's son. And he's quite a brave guy till he dies in front of the reeds, which is the joke about Moses. Stanley N. Cohen, professor at Stanford. David Elliott Cohen, author and publisher. Carrie H. Cohen, partner Morrison and Forster, former assistant US attorney, SDNY. Harriet Newman Cohen, New York City divorce attorney, dangerous woman. Samuel Cohen, former high-tech executive convicted of fraud in 2012. And I don't know whether Donald's syndicate was even thinking of demonising the other Cohens at that time. Marshall A. Cohen, but his director numbers in Glasgow were much easier to find then. And the 500 Ponzis, all of whom are Ponzis within the companies, were still trading out of Greenock. Take my word for it. Samuel Cohen, former high-tech executive convicted of fraud in 2012. Marshall A. Cohen, counsel to the law firm Cassels, Hess Cassels, Brock and Blackwater again. Julie E. Cohen, oh no sorry, they were war criminals in Iraq, but none of them have been brought to justice for reasons that the High Priest of Israel may be able to understand. Julie E. Cohen is professor at Georgetown University, and they are the people that used to plan the Skull and Bones issues. Dylan Cohen is a co-founder, and the Dylans are on the family trees for the Orange people. Yeah, that is the Orangemen that are on the committee of 300 and are now dying in off-piste accidents. Let me show you one of them if I can find one. I think it could be that one. And there's the Landgravine Marie Louise of Hesse-Cassel, and all of it is how to take over the world. And that is, she was married to John William Frieso, Prince of Orange, and all of them descend to all of the people that die in the skiing accidents that I've reported in my Committee of 300 video. And they're not accidents, they're actually God's avalanches. Same thing for Michael Schumacher. Yeah, he caved his own head in off-piste. And they all call it an accident still. So that's not got the one that is on the Committee of 300 and was caved in by an avalanche. I'm sure Rothschild. Better move on quickly. William and Maria. William the Silent. Oh yeah, he's the one that has all the family tree with the people that are actually the Eurovision Song Contest winners. And let's just show you that. So that's Engelbert of Nassau and Orange, and Dillenburg, John V of Nassau in Dillenburg. You get Bob Dylan and everything is a massive syndicate of crooks. What else have we got? Engelbert of Nassau, Johanna of Polonen, that is the Piso nickname again, and Polio, and there is Eberhard III of Epstein, Count of Rochefort, Württemberg, and this has got Queenie on it, and it's the Orange families of, no, I cannot find anything on those Committee of 300 ones. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there they are in all their greatness, and they are related to Kaiser Wilhelm and Stalin, and that is the Kaiser Will, Hohenzollerns, and look at the tongues of the lions. It's the same as the Austrian flag for the Hohenzollerns and the emperors of Austria that are von Habsburg and the world's biggest mafias in Austro-Hungary. And they've now taken down the pictures of Amschel Rothschild, who founded, with the help of Woodrow Wilson and all the crooked families that are also related to Queen Victoria, like Donald Trump, it is a massive steal. Right, sorry, we got diverted. Hope I can find Sarah Cohen again. Julie Cohen, Cohen and Steers Capital Management. Let's get a move on and see if we can get anything that will allow you not to get bored like you must be already. Page 7 of 25. Carol Goldstein, Cohen. Oh, they're lovely family, Connor Kate. Oh, sorry, that's Goldsmith. Should we have a look at Goldstein? No. Jared Cohen. Was that the one that's been chasing Gwyneth Paltrow around? Director of Google Ideas and former advisor to several United States Secretaries of State. That is Google and the snitching on the whole world that you saw a little bit earlier on, with their attempt to put their software on the computer that I've never attempted to put it on before, so that they could not manipulate my access to videos at key moments. Fred Cohen, Professor of Pharmacology, University of California, San Francisco. Been there and seen it. Friends of Bob Cohen, NYS. Abraham Cohen. Oh, this could be biblical. But he's a CEO, GEO of Group Inc., member of Florida Atlantic University Board of Trustees since 2008, when they crashed the banks. Rob Cohen, Alan H. Cohen, Senior Managing Director and member, Ann Cohen, Advocate Workshop, School of Philadelphia, former Labour leader, riddled with communists. Elliot Cohen, former Councillor of the Department of State, is a Robert E. Osgood Professor at Johns Hopkins University with the word Piso in it. Cohen B. Shall we have a look at him? No. Robert E. Osgood, who used to play for Chelsea, like Abramovich used to be its manager. Director, with the yacht, Jonathan B. Cohen, Professor, West Newton, Massachusetts. Maybe that's the Newtown school massacres to cover something up. Davison, yeah, that is now the head of Scottish Conservatives. Davison, Cohen and Co.